you're going to have this die cut and a black sheet of paper. And then this is going to be for your inside. Now, I didn't stamp anything on the inside because I love this sentiment that says made with love just for you. It can be used for any occasion. So I left it open so that you could use the card for whatever purpose you want it to, because that is just such a general saying. It can be used for any occasion. Okay, so you have your black piece. You'll have a colored piece of the succulent bouquet, and you'll have made with love just for you. And you're going to need your scissors to cut this out, so have those ready. So the first thing we're going to do is, and this is the, I don't know, this is the hardest part of the card, and it's fairly easy. But what we're going to do is, you'll notice these are pretty much the same. The black and the white pieces are the same size, but we want to cut this down. This is where you're going to need your trimmer. We're going to want to cut this down about 1/8 of an inch on each side so that it measures 4 inches across. Okay, because we want a little bit of that blue card base to show through. So in order to do that, the best way I found to do that is you're going to glue this background to the black. And some of yours may not be exactly straight. So your background, but that's okay because you can straighten it out when you run it through your trimmer. So first thing we're going to do is run this through. Now, we want to make sure that the edges get your adhesive. This is a great time to use your silicone mat so they don't get glue all over your table, because your adhesive is probably wider than what you have to glue. And you don't have to apply glue to the whole background. You can just apply it in a few spots, because this, once you dip the edges, that's going to be key. Make sure you have glue on the edges. That's key. Then you can just kind of spot glue it in certain places, because once you put the card together, this strip and the other pieces will help hold it in place. So we're going to go ahead and glue the edges. Make sure those are glued well. And then we're going to place it on top of our black. And to tell you the truth, I don't even think you really need to stamp, to adhere on the inside. Really, I think it's just the edges you're going to need. So we'll go ahead and we'll lay that on top of the black so that they match up. And I mean, I just like it just like this. I just love it. I mean, just let your imagination run away with you, right? Because we have our blends, our blending brushes, where you can just kind of dip it in the ink, and then you can just rub it on this stencil and make it different colors too, different shadings. Cutting this out in other colors, gold or, you know, black. I mean, it's just so many things you can do with this background. So, so we'll get our trimmer out, and we are just going to trim. You should not need to trim the top and the bottom, because we're okay with that. It's just you're going to trim these edges. It means 1/8 of an inch. So I don't know if I need to zoom or not, but 1/8 of an inch. And I can see that my piece is just slightly crooked. So I see that there's a little bit more white here than at the top. Let's see if you can see that. So I'm going to just turn my paper so that it a little bit so that it cuts straight.
Is that because the die doesn't really cut the edges, Carol? You just had a piece of paper that was that width and you did the stencil die cut?
Did the stencil, and not always was I straight on.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not a die cut that does the whole like framing of it. It just does that succulent design, right?
Yes, exactly. It doesn't. Yeah, exactly. If you wanted to use it like as the frame and you didn't want to have to trim it off, you're just going to have to make sure your die is positioned perfectly on your paper. Yeah.
Yep. How beautiful though, with all those succulents inside of the design. It's just gorgeous.
Thank you. Yeah. Let's see here. And remember, you're going through 2 layers of paper. So mine didn't cut through quite. So don't lift your paper until you're ready, you're set, like I did, but I just relined it up and I'm good. So then your piece should look something like that. It should measure around 4 inches. I could trim just a little bit, but sometimes when you get really small, it gets kind of tricky. How is that working for everyone?
Going fine.
Okay, good. Yeah, you might want to run it through twice before you pick it up off your cutter, because it is 2 layers of paper. Another trick when you're cutting this paper is like I have to cut it again here, is to not start your blade, because the paper is so thick. Don't start your blade right at the edge and try and cut into it. Lift your blade up and start like a little bit inward and then cut. It'll make it a little bit easier for you.
Okay.
And if all else fails, just pull your scissors out. So I did cut off a little of the bottom because I went kind of narrow. So I did cut a little off the bottom so that my edges were exactly the same. So it's your call how much you want to trim off. But I wanted the blue layer to show through, so that's why you're cutting the edge. So then, everybody at that stage, everybody cut that out? I just love looking at that. It's so beautiful. It's just gorgeous to me.
Well, against that Bermuda blue paper, that's so pretty.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, isn't it just gorgeous? That's why I did want some of that to peek through. So now it's pretty much, I can see a little bit of edge all the way around on this card. So now that it's trimmed, I'm going to go ahead and adhere it to the card base. And, you know, think about how you can use that background die. You know, you could, if you wanted to, you could just, you know, cut the die out and use half on a page, right? Half the card could be with the die and the other part could be plain. So there's a lot of different ways to use this die as well. So now that we've got that done, we're ready to put on our little strip. I have it a little below center. It's up to you where you'd like to place that. And it will meet, it's 4 inches wide, so it should cover your whole background. And I just put that on with adhesive. And you know, some detailed dies are tough to cut out. I have to say that this die is not tough to cut out. Once I cut it out, you know, I ran it through my sponge with the brush and all the pieces pretty much came out. So there's some detailed dies that you're spending a lot of time getting those extra pieces out, but not so much with this one. So of course I love that since we had to cut so many. It's always a little blessing because it's a time saver when you don't have to punch out all those pieces. Okay, so then we're next, we're ready for our succulent bouquet, I'll call it, and we're going to put this on with pop-up dots. You can angle it however you want. And then we did put in the instructions that Wink Stella was optional. Now, Wink Stella goes good with everything, and it's kind of one of my stamping basics, but you can tell on this card, hopefully, that there's some sparkle to it. Can you tell, like on this bottom one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and on the leaves. So just if you want to, now would be a good time to, once you have your piece adhered, to put your Wink Stella on top of the bouquet.
Can you show what that is, Carol? It's like a glitter pen.
Yeah.
It's an odd name, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a pen like this, and you take the cap off, and you shake it before you use it. And then you squeeze a little bit and that glitter will come off on the brush onto your paper. So it doesn't hurt to add more. And then you just let it dry, but it adds a lot of glitter to just everything.
With no mess, you're not sprinkling glitter all over everything.
Exactly. So
I gilded leafing for my mess.
yeah, did you see if we still sell this? Is this carrying over?
Yeah,
No, I'll check. I don't know.
I think it is.
Oh, good.
And
Great.
remember, if you buy it brand new, there's a ring in the middle that you have to take out.
Yes.
Yeah, it is carrying over.
Excellent. Oh, okay, good, 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 good.
Yeah, so much better than like putting down glue and then sprinkling glitter on it. Just to have it brush on with that nice brush-like pen.
Yeah, someone had a genius idea.
Yeah.
Okay, now that you've got that piece on, now this piece, I did the same as what Kelly did in one of her earlier cards on black. I just stamped with Versamark, this saying, and then just put white embossing powder over it and embossed it. Now the way we're going to cut out the tag is we're going to keep this square around just for you, and then just go across with our scissors and just follow the formation of the made with love words. It's a very popular technique. Of course, I love it, that kind of a technique. So we're going to do it on this card, and it's fairly easy. There's no right or wrong, just kind of go around the letters. Doesn't have to go through every dip either, just go around it. Now they say when this is called fussy cutting, but they say when you do it, it's you should move your paper. And not your, scissors. Keep your scissors in the same spot and then just move your paper. They say that makes better rounded corners, or it's just easier. I don't know. So unless anybody has another technique, I'll cut around it and then I'll just square it off at the end. So, and now I'm going to cut it so that it's even on both sides.
That is really pretty.
That is pretty.
Thanks. And then we are going to, once that's cut out, we're going to layer it however you want, but I put a little bit behind this Bermuda Bay, and then we put it right on top of the bouquet. And I did do that with dimensionals as well. So we'll put a few dimensionals on the back. Now, if you like this set, if you're interested in this set, and you've got this blank inside, if you get this set, then you can just stamp part of the bouquet on the inside as well. So something for you to think about too before you finish adhering this card. If you're thinking of getting the set at all, you might want to save that middle piece and add some more color on the inside.
That would be so nice for wedding, anniversary, birthday, special occasion, pretty much anything. Really
Yeah,
nice.
that's why it's almost for anything. That's why I think it's great that we just leave the sentiment for you stampers to put the inside in, because then you can use it for what you need.
Very nice.
Oh, and then in your packet, you did get some oval rounds. And so I did add a few of them to the finished card on the black, so that you could kind of see it pop up. You can use some of your opal rounds if you want to decorate the front of your card as well. Let's see here. I think I used two different sizes. I used one big and two small, I believe, on this one. Two of the smaller. Just adds another little dimension of sparkle to your card.
It's so pretty.
Thank you. Yeah, I just love